was recently humiliated by Mike Tyson in a way that no one expected. It wasn't in the ring, but in the build-up to their much-anticipated fight. Jake had been promoting himself, saying he could beat Tyson, but everything fell apart when Tyson asked for a random steroid test. Jake didn't want to agree to it, and that's where the trouble started. Everyone wondered why he wouldn't take the test, and many felt it was suspicious. Jake Paul had been on a winning streak, and his confidence only seemed to grow with each victory. He has not been shy about trash talking, whether on social media or during interviews. He even mocked Tyson's age, suggesting that the former champion was no longer in his prime. Jake Paul had been pushing hard for a fight with Mike Tyson, but this time, things didn't go as planned. Tyson asked for a random steroid test, and Jake Paul quickly pulled out. Everyone thought it was strange, and many questioned why he couldn't agree to something so simple. People started to suspect there might be more to the story, and it made Jake look bad. This fight was set to be one of the biggest events in boxing. It was going to be a clash of two completely different worlds, with Jake representing the new age and Tyson the old. But Tyson didn't back down, and his request for the random test was a clear message that he wasn't messing around. Jake, who had been talking big in the lead-up to the fight, suddenly found himself under a lot of pressure.
Mike Tyson was one of the guys that I idolized growing up.
Jake Paul trolling Dana White can be pretty hilarious, but the MMA big boss is on point. Jake keeps fighting opponents who are either much smaller or significantly older than him, which is why he'll never be viewed as a legitimate boxer. Personally, I hope Uncle Mike knocks this Disney clown's head off and ends the circus once and for all.
When the press conference was held on August 18th, 2024, Tyson stunned the world. The rules for the fight took an unexpected turn when Tyson declared that the only way to win the fight was by knockout. This rule change caught everyone by surprise. No technical knockouts or decisions were allowed, just a good old-fashioned knockout. The room went silent for a moment as the weight of Tyson's words sank in, then erupted with murmurs. The excitement surrounding the fight grew even stronger. Tyson, by laying down such a condition, was showing that he wanted no controversy surrounding the fight. There would be no questionable decisions or referee stoppages. The fight would only end when one of them was knocked out. Tyson didn't stop there. He announced that there would be random drug tests before the fight. These weren't your typical tests that fighters are warned about in advance. Tyson wanted these tests to be truly random. No preparation time, just a surprise test when Jake least expected it. This move was seen as a direct jab at Jake Paul, who had been surrounded by rumors about shady behavior in the past.
So he got the both of us, and we're gonna do this, and we're friends. There's no doubt we're friends, but in that ring, we're not gonna be friends. That's just what it is.
Yeah, a lot of people are doubting me. You know, I go onto the Instagram comments and I see them all saying, if Jake wins this fight, it's rigged because of how incredible he looks. Age doesn't matter. Age is just a number. He's a killer. He's a warrior. He's been doing this his whole entire life.
Critics had long questioned the legitimacy of Jake's victories, with many suspecting that some of his fights were rigged. The random drug test was Tyson's way of ensuring that everything about the fight was clean and fair. If Jake wanted to win, he would have to do it the hard way. As Tyson laid down these rules, Jake's attitude visibly changed. The cocky grin that he was known for quickly disappeared, replaced by a look of panic. It was clear that the no TKO rule, and especially the random drug tests, had shaken him. He tried to argue that the new rules were a breach of the contract, claiming that Tyson was trying to sabotage him. But Jake had agreed to let Tyson set the rules when the fight was first arranged, so there was no room for complaints. Jake's attempt to back out of the fight didn't fool anyone. It was obvious that Jake had underestimated Tyson and that he was not prepared for the seriousness of the situation. The media quickly picked up on the drama, with headlines focusing on Jake's reaction to the rule changes. Fans and critics alike began to wonder if Jake was trying to avoid the fight altogether. After all, Tyson's terms made it clear that Jake would have to face him head-on without any shortcuts. Jake tried to paint Tyson as the villain, accusing him of changing the rules to make it impossible for him to win. But most people saw through Jake's complaints, recognizing them as an excuse to dodge the fight. Jake's behavior was nothing new. Whenever things got tough, he would try to deflect attention away from himself. Tyson, on the other hand, remained calm. He wasn't interested in the drama. He just wanted a fair fight. The fight was set to be the biggest event of Jake's career, but in the end, he decided to cancel it. Many people saw Jake's decision as an admission of defeat, not because of the fight itself, but because of the public's reaction. By canceling the fight, Jake had essentially confirmed the suspicions that he was afraid to face Tyson on fair terms. Logan Paul also tried to defend him. In an interview, Logan claimed that Jake had once dreamed of becoming a Navy SEAL before he started boxing. He presented Jake as a disciplined warrior who wanted to serve his country. But this story didn't quite fit with the Jake Paul that everyone knew. The YouTuber known for pranks and outrageous stunts didn't exactly have the qualities of a Navy SEAL. Despite Logan's best efforts to cast Jake in a new light, few people were convinced. Tyson certainly wasn't. He brushed off Logan's comments, making it clear that he wasn't interested in the story of Jake's supposed military ambitions. Tyson knew that the fight would be won in the ring, not with words. As the drama continued, it became clear that Jake had lost more than just a fight. He had lost credibility. The hype surrounding the match had reached a fever pitch, but now it was all for nothing. Tyson's rule changes had turned what was supposed to be an ordinary fight into something historic. But instead of rising to the challenge, Jake backed out. The world of boxing was left to wonder what could have been. Tyson, on the other hand, had nothing to lose. He had already proven himself as one of the greatest fighters in history. The fight with Jake Paul would have been just another chapter in his long and storied career. But for Jake, this fight was supposed to be his big moment, the chance to prove that he could hold his own against a true boxing legend. By canceling the fight, Jake had thrown away that opportunity. Fans of Jake Paul were divided over his decision to cancel the fight. Some loyal followers supported him and believed that Tyson had rigged the match from the start. These fans argued that Tyson's demands were unreasonable, especially the random drug test and the no TKO rule. They believed that Jake was right to back out of the fight if the conditions weren't fair. They flooded social media with messages of support, expressing their belief that Jake would still go on to achieve great things in his boxing career.
Your tummy hurts still?
I feel a lot better now. I feel a lot better.
Was your break to you were you truly sick, or were you a little nervous about getting in the ring with Jake Paul?
I was terrified.
However, many other fans were disappointed. They had been looking forward to the fight and saw Jake's cancellation as a sign of weakness. These fans felt let down by Jake's decision and questioned whether he had the courage to face a real challenge. For them, this was an opportunity for Jake to prove himself, and by backing out, he had missed a chance to show that he could stand toe-to-toe with one of the greatest fighters in history. Critics, on the other hand, were less forgiving. They viewed Jake's decision as a clear indication that he was not ready for a real fight. To them, Jake had built his career on spectacle and hype, but when it came time to prove his skills in the ring, he faltered. These critics pointed out that Jake had a history of picking fights that were designed to make him look good, but when faced with a legitimate opponent like Tyson, he chose to walk away. Jake's reputation took a major hit. In the world of boxing, a fighter's credibility is everything. We want to see fighters who are willing to take on tough opponents and prove themselves in the ring. By canceling the fight, Jake had damaged his image as a serious boxer. It was no longer just about his skills in the ring. His willingness to take on challenges was now in question. Tyson, on the other hand, emerged from the situation with his legacy intact. He had nothing to prove to anyone, and his willingness to fight under strict conditions only reinforced his status as a true champion. Tyson had laid down the rules because he wanted the fight to be clean and fair. He wasn't interested in shortcuts or controversy. He just wanted a proper fight. And in the end, Tyson's approach to the fight showed why he was still respected as one of the greatest fighters in history. He wasn't afraid of a challenge, and he didn't back down when things got tough. As the dust settled, it became clear that the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul would go down in history, not for the punches that were thrown, but for the drama that unfolded outside the ring. Fans are still wondering what could have happened if Jake had stepped up to the challenge. So, the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul will be remembered not for the punches that were thrown, but for the ones that never happened. The world will never know what might have been if Jake had stepped into the ring with Tyson. But one thing is certain, Jake's decision to cancel the fight marked a turning point in his career. It remains to be seen how he will recover from the damage to his reputation. So, what do you think about this? Comment down your thoughts right now. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well.